Okay, councillors, it is now gone the time. You're all very welcome to the Fermanagh Nova District Council Regeneration and Community Committee. Today, Tuesday the 10th of June 2025, and we are in the Grange, Omagh. And also, we have a few councillors joining us via WebEx. You're all very welcome. Just a wee bit of history here, I suppose. Just going back 10 years, we're thinking over 10 years now, and I was the first chair of this particular committee in 2015-16. So there we have a 10-year period that's gone past. So just to put that in perspective, can I welcome you all along, and those who are joining via WebEx, please get your cameras on. How's Warrington? First thing we'll do is a welcome our top table here as well, and that's Director Sinead McAvoy and Director John Boyle and Michelle, our Democratic Services Officer, and IT we have Selena. So without
Chair, I want to go back out again because it says you can't start your camera. Your camera is disabled. It's right. I need to go into settings here and undisable it. So go on ahead. Yeah, ignore me.
Okay, we'll let you carry on. Okay, thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda are apologies. I go to Sinn Féin. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, Chairman. Councillor Anne-Marie Donnelly is an apology, and Councillor Patrick Ian Kelly will be online.
Yeah, I see Patrick Ian on there. Yeah, thank you. Just at this juncture, I want to commend Councillor Stephen Donnelly and his year in the chair of this very important committee. So well done, Stephen, on your last year. Thank you. On to item 2 on the agenda is to sign the minutes, and I have them signed. Item 3 on the agenda is a declaration of interest, if any. Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Cheers, Chair, and thank you for your kind words, and I wish you very well in the year ahead in your role as Chair. Just to declare an interest under 6.1 as a board member of the Education Authority.
Thank you. No other declarations, okay. Okay, we go on now to reports for decision, and that's item 4, Regeneration and Planning Directorate Report. 4.1, to consider the report of the Director of Regeneration and Planning, and that is paper A in your packs. And it's over to Director Sinead McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to provide members with an update in relation to our Economic Development Inward Investment Steering Advisory Group for the Sub-Regional Plan, our Omagh Opportunities Sites Working Group, and then an update in relation to 2 letters of offer. So in relation to the Economic Development Advisory Group, the last meeting of that group took place back on the 15th of May. And at the meeting, members received an update regarding the business clinics, which one has already taken place in Carrickmore on the 3rd of June. And I think the feedback from that was really positive and good attendance at that. And then the next one of those is to take place tomorrow in Lisnaskea. Members also discussed an issue that has been discussed previously at the working group regarding entrepreneurial programmes in schools, and agreed that a meeting with Intertrade Ireland be arranged to discuss the potential to assist with that particular programme in relation to secondary education. Members also discussed the recent presentation that Tourism Ireland had provided to us, and agreed that it would be useful to provide or to seek further information regarding twinning arrangements for the district, with the district being twinned with the USA at present. There was also discussion around the New Frontiers programme, which was a programme that we'd heard about whenever we had undertaken our CoLab visit, and then how that programme then compares with similar programmes in Northern Ireland, including our Founders Lab and Ambition to Grow. And then there was also discussion just around, I suppose, the importance of the public really getting to know what those programmes are about and what is available to them. Members received an update in relation to the sub-regional economic plan and the local economic partnership. We had received some guidance from DFE, and we did have some queries around that guidance in terms of the criteria and measurements that could be applied to projects that could be supported. The guidance was unclear, but since this particular paper was drafted, we've actually received further guidance from the department just the week before last, and we met with departmental officers and InvestNI officers just yesterday to discuss that guidance in more detail. Members also received an update on inward investment within the district and agreed that InvestNI would be invited to the next meeting of the group. And then we also had a discussion in relation to the Productivity Institute report, which is an ongoing piece of work with officers at present. In relation to our Own Opportunity Sites working group then, met back in 17th of April. And there was a discussion around the work that's been ongoing to refresh the master plan for St. Lucia and the various different documents that will support that. We also noted correspondence at the meeting from the Department of Infrastructure in which they confirmed that they didn't have any funding available to support the refresh of the master plan for the site. And then members also received an update in relation to the role of the two Struil groups. So there's the Struil Community Stakeholder Group and then the Struil Vacated Sites Working Group. And it really was a discussion around the role of both those groups and really the significant importance of those and in the context of vacated sites. We also discussed the role of the local policies plan and agreed then it would be helpful to have a representation from Department of Education at the next meeting of the group. And then in relation to letters of offer, members will note then that we have received a letter of offer which has been accepted from the Executive Office for 141,500 towards the Good Relations Programme for 25-26. And then a letter of offer has also been accepted from the Department of Justice and the Northern Ireland Policing Board for £313,948 towards the cost associated with the PCSP for 25-26. So members, in terms of recommendations then, it's recommended the Council notes the update on the Economic Development Group and approves the recommendations of the May meeting to arrange a meeting with Intertrade Ireland to discuss the potential to assist with entrepreneurial programmes in secondary education and to seek further information from Tours Ireland on the twinning approach to twinning arrangements with the USA. Also to note the update on the Home Opportunity Sites Working Group and approve the recommendation from the April meeting to invite a representative from the Department of Education to give an overview in relation to the Struil Campus project and vacated sites and to note the acceptance of the letters of offer.
Thank you very much, Sinead. And I will go to the chamber here first of all, and is Councillor Roisin Devine-Giller.
Thank you, Chair. I recently attended the business clinic in the Milestone there. It was a fantastic turnout by the local businesses. But I just wanted to give a wee bit of feedback. So it's been speaking to some of the businesses leading up to the event, and a lot of them were saying they wouldn't be able to attend because of the morning slot. So I think we should need to take into consideration that most businesses are 9 to 5, and we need to allow for those who wouldn't be able to, like 10 o'clock in the morning, a lot of them just couldn't, but a lot did. So it was positive that way. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. And now over to Councillor Brian Michael-Duff.
Thank you, Chair, and good luck in your year ahead as Chair of the RNC Committee. Like Councillor Devine-Gallagher, I found the business clinic, the regional business clinic at the Milestone Centre to be a really positive event. And there was a good buzz in the room, business engagement with the council itself, Kieran McCrory and others, and InvestNI and the college, and significantly to Intertrade Ireland. So there was a real good buzz and people were benefiting from the information they received. There's no doubt about that. And like Roisin, you'd like to see even more there. You'd like it to be the biggest show in town, but we'll keep working at this, to bring the community closer to our business support team. And it's a very positive event. And obviously we're doing our best with the OMA Sites Working Group, Opportunity Sites. Maybe at some point we'll take an initiative to help externalize the message, like what are the opportunities for the private sector even out there in relation to what's up ahead. So thank you, Chair, and I'll happily propose the recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor Michael-Duff. Okay, we're on now to Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I'm more than happy to propose or second the document. I suppose I just wanted to take this opportunity to put on record actually my ongoing concern at the security situation in terms of the St. Lucia site, because I'm conscious that there is still ongoing antisocial activity at that site, and in particular some very serious arson incidents. And I think that it is worth just putting on record again in this public venue the fact that these activities are directing vital emergency services support away from other engagements that they could be involved in. And indeed, at some point, it's quite possible that those who are involved in this behaviour will put themselves at risk from the irresponsible behaviour that they are engaged in. And I think that we should be very clear about the fact that this is behaviour that is utterly self-destructive for Omagh, because this site is a vital part of the future economic proposition that Omagh is going to have to offer. It's a important part of our shared heritage as a town, and so any move to attack it, to burn it down, or whatever it may well be, that is an attack on us as a community, and it's utterly unacceptable. So I just wanted to put that on record, Chair.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Councillor Victor Warrington via WebEx.
Chair, I wasn't coming in on the topic. I'm wondering if you can ask IT to access my computer just so they can sort the camera problem out. Thank you.
Okay, that's noted, and IT's taking that on board for you. Thank you, Councillor Warrington. Okay, so that's the recommendations have been proposed and seconded. All agreed? Thank you. On to item 0.5, and that's the Community and Wellbeing Directorate reports. 5.1 is to consider the report on the draft age-friendly strategy and action plan, and in your packs is paper B. And so we're to Director John Boyle.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's the draft age-friendly strategy. It has been working on for quite some time. Members will be aware of the Age-Friendly Alliance, which is made up of Council, the Western Health and Social Care Trust, the PSNI, the Northern Ireland Housing Executive, Department of Infrastructure, TransLink, and Southwest Age Partnership. This age-friendly strategy and action plan, whilst we had one in 2018, this is a refresh document, and we've already gone out effectively for consultation in order to inform the strategy itself. We actually had 925 responses from people aged over 50 in formulation of the revised strategy. And there were a number also of focus groups which were facilitated through SWAP in order to inform the process. The strategy takes account of the domains of the World Health Organization, and there are 4 key themes which members you will see there as Appendix 1, where the strategy and action plan is included. There are 4 key themes which take account of those World Health Organization domains, which deal with infrastructure, participation and access, tackling isolation, and health and well-being. We're all very aware of the ageing population of our district. And I think increasingly a strategy and an action plan in order to help make the lives of those older people better in our district is absolutely vital. And so therefore, I suppose I couldn't emphasize enough the importance of the consultation process and getting as much feedback on the draft strategy and action plan as we possibly can throughout our district, because it is a very important strategy for our district. It is proposed that the consultation events will take place with key stakeholders during that 12-week proposed period, which will include both online and in-person events. And also there will be a workshop organised for members here that will take place during the consultation process also to feed into it. So therefore, Chair, it's recommended that the Council approves the 12-week public consultation on the draft age-friendly strategy and action plan, which is scheduled to start on the 7th of July, and notes the opportunity for member engagement, and we'll arrange a date for that engagement. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Director Boyle. Okay, if there's no speakers coming in for proposer and seconder for the recommendations, please. Councillor Glenn Campbell proposed. seconded Councillor Mark Buchanan. All agreed? Thank you very much. Okay, we're on to now reports for information. And the first of all is number 6, item 6 is Regeneration and Planning Directorate Reports, 6.1 to, sorry. Oh, sorry. Way ahead of myself here, folks, sorry. Excuse me. It's 5.2 and it's paper C. It's a report of the Director of Community and Wellbeing, Director Boyle. Apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Two elements. First one is a request from Outscape. Members will know Outscape previously as Outdoor Recreation NI. They've been successful on a Peace Plus project or Peace Plus funding for a project Walking for All to try and create healthier rural communities across the border areas. The programme will look at trying to encourage participation in walking through organised volunteer-led walks undertaken by trained volunteers at a local community level. So it's a very local thing, and bringing communities together, fostering acceptance and respect of differences. It involves 19 partners. It will be undertaken by 16 walking for all officers, and it's proposed that one of these officers will be employed within our own council area, and it's proposed that we should employ them, and that the cost of that employment will be covered by Outscape and by the funding for the programme, with a small cost of delivery to the council of £5,000, just over £5,000 over the 3-year programme for delivery. It certainly does help to achieve the aims and objectives of our corporate plan in providing, those opportunities for healthy lifestyles, for getting people active, for participation in recreation and sport, and so therefore it is a worthwhile project for the council to be involved in. The second element of the report, Chair, is in relation to, just for information, for the illumination of council buildings that took place between the 1st of October and the 31st of March. So therefore, Chair, it's recommended that the council approves entering into a partnership with Outscape to deliver a Walking for All programme, and as part of that Fermanagh and Omagh District would employ a walking officer and provide financial support of £5,000 over the 3 years to support the programme delivery. And secondly, Chair, that notes the report on eliminations carried between the 1st of October 24 and the end of March 25.
Okay, thanks very much again, Director Boyle. And with the chamber here, and Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I think that this is a very welcome report. I think that this project is a really good combination of work to bring communities together while also having that focus on positive mental and physical health, and it certainly aligns with a lot of what we are hoping to achieve. So on that basis, I'm more than happy to propose
the recommendations. Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Okay, I'll be a seconder for the recommendations. Councillor Allen Reilly, MBE. Seconder. All agreed? Thank you. Sorry for skipping on there. I was a wee bit ahead of myself there. Okay, now we're on to reports for information, and that's item 6, Regeneration Planning Director Reports 6.1, and it's to note the report on the business case, paper D, and it's over to Director Sinead McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a report in relation to a business case. So members will recall that in March 24, Council approved its revised options and appraisals policy. And that policy essentially sets out the details of the internal assessment process associated with business cases. So as we've said, the purpose of the report then is to note one business case. And in accordance with that agreed policy, officers from the Capital Programme Service and members of the Capital Programme Management Board then have assessed this business case prior to it obviously being reported through to the committee tonight. So the project then is in relation to the Bonacre Leisure Centre, and it relates to change of room use to an EA Youth Service Hub. So the project will see essentially an unused space within the Bonacre Centre developed into a dedicated youth service hub that will be delivered by the Education Authority as part of a service level agreement. and the costs associated with the redevelopment then would be shared by the council and the Education Authority. So on completion of the works then, the service level agreement between the Education Authority and the council will increase from its current 15,000 per annum to 31,500 per annum. And this would see the level of investment then from the council returned in less than 14 months as a result of that increase in the service level agreement. And just to note then, the budget for the project is set out at 2.3.3 of the report. And then in relation to the status, the Education Authority is providing funding of £14,863 towards the cost of the project. And the project is scheduled to be completed within the current financial year of 25-26. So then, Chair, the recommendation is that the council notes the business case detailed in the report.
Thank you very much, Director McAvoy. This is, I suppose, a good news story for the Bonaker and for this council in general. We have proposal and seconder for the recommendation. Councillor Roisin Devine Gallagher, seconded by Councillor Mark Buchanan. We all agreed? Okay. On to item 6.2, and that's the note update report on funded programmes, paper E, and its director, Sinead McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of the report is to provide members with an update on progress in relation to a number of investment and funded programmes. So in relation to the Rural Economic Accelerator Programme that we refer to as REAP, in relation to Peace Plus, in relation to the DAERA Rural Business Development Grant Scheme, and then an update in relation to the Strategic Capital Projects Grant Programme. So in relation to REAP, as we know, the Council has worked with the lead partner, South West College, in the delivery of the REAP employability programme across the district. And the programme is funded through UK Shared Prosperity Fund. And we've had our operated through the call one, which was in the period April 23 to March 25. And we're now in that call two period, which is from the 1st of April 25 through onto the end of March 2026. The REAP programme is really positive, important one in the district. It's supporting people who are currently economically inactive to really progress towards employment. And the Council REAP programme team worked with individuals and community groups delivering personal and employability related skills, development and qualifications. And the key targets for the team are set out at 2.1.2 of the report. Implementation of the REAP programme was impacted by a delay in the issue of the Memorandum of Understanding, which include reduced delivery time and budget spend. And in that context then, reprofile targets are set out at the table below in the report, and these were calculated against the actual budget spend. So members will note that all the targets were exceeded, but the numbers progressing into education were below target. But this is offset really by the figure in terms of employment figures, which were then exceeded by an additional 80%. And then just to note, members, that at 2.1.4, a Memorandum of Understanding has been received from South West College, from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, and that has been sent to the Council in relation to the continued delivery of the programme, and the key Council targets for that continued delivery are set out in the report. In relation to Peace Plus then, Investment Area 1.1 Local Area Action Plans. So as we know, the Council received the letter of offer from Special EU Programmes Body back in December 2024 for the delivery of the Peace Plus Local Action Plan in the district. And as we know, that action plan is made up of 13 programme areas across 3 themes. And the detail then of the progress against the programme then is set out at Appendix 1 of the report. In relation to the DAERA Rural Business Development Grant Scheme, the Council received the letter of engagement in relation to that back in October 24, regarding the opening of that with effect from the 16th of October. And the Tackling Rural Poverty and Social Isolation Programme, so the TRIPSI programme as we refer to it, really aims to support the sustainability and growth of rural microbusinesses across the region. And the grant provides funding of up to 50% of costs for the capital items to a maximum of £4,999. So the report really is just to update members in terms of the number of applications received. So we received 188 applications and issued 145 letters of offer. And the total grant value of letters of offer was at 502,000 back at the January. The council team has now completed the processing of the claims and the scheme's now closed. So a final total of 138 claims were received with 8 applications withdrawn by applicants. And to note that the total grant claimed was £470,443, with the final total project costs of just over £1 million. And then members, to note just the update in relation to our strategic capital projects grant programme. So members will be aware that that programme has started just this year. It's year 1 of a 5-year scheme with the funding secured for the current year, and it's scheduled then to be delivered annually. And to note then that all the grant recipients will be required to contribute a minimum of a 10% match funding based on the total project's costs. And as we know, the grant scheme has 2 categories of projects. Category 1, which is our larger strategic grants up to 300,000, and then Category 2, which is our medium capital grants up to 100,000. So just to note then that the total number of applications received were 8 applications for Category 1 and 25 applications for Category 2. So council officers are currently making their way through the review and the consideration and processing of those applications. And the recommendations then will be presented to the grant aid panel at a meeting that's scheduled for Friday of this week, the 13th of June. And then we will report the outcome of that then to the R&C committee at our July meeting. So members, the recommendation then is that it's recommended the council notes the update on the progress in relation to the RAPE programme, notes the update on the progress in relation to the Peace Plus programme, notes the update in relation to progress on the DAERA grant scheme, and then also notes the update in relation to our strategic capital projects grant programme.
Thank you very much, Director McAvoy. And the Chamber, Mr. Glenn Campbell.
Yes, so Caherly, I want to thank our director for the update, and I suppose I want to thank Sinead and the team for the work that sort of is done all year round, really, identifying and funding opportunities, and indeed applying and supporting groups for applying. It's much appreciated by the community and by ourselves as elected representatives. And I suppose what I'd like to say as well, I've been contacted by a fellow councillor that thought it might be good that as a grant opens, maybe if the councillors were all sent an email just around the time of it opening. It's just that we are well informed, and there's no doubt that we don't have much excuse, for missing these opportunities, but we can be told in advance, and maybe it'd be nice to get a reminder maybe the week prior so that we can use our contacts as well to encourage applications, Chairman.
Yeah,
if that would be possible.
Yeah, I don't think we need a proposal. I think we're all agreed on that one anyway. That would be a great idea, just as a reminder to us all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you happy to propose the recommendations?
Happy to propose just for noting, so I don't feel there's any issue there. Thank you.
We'll add that on too. Okay, thanks, Councillor Campbell. Over to Councillor Almready, MBE.
Chair, maybe mine's a different subject. Apologies for being late, and then a declaration of interest here for Trellick Leisure, Council, and Oma volunteers.
Okay, so that's Trellick Leisure Centre and the Regeneration of Initiative. And yeah, okay. You got that, Michelle? Happy enough? Okay, you happy to second? Anyone? No, I'll go for somebody else to second it then. Councillor Rosemary Barton, second. Proposed by Councillor Glenn Campbell, seconded by Councillor Rosemary Barton, and agreed. Okay, thank you for that. On to item 7, and we have correspondence, and 7.1 is to note correspondence dated the 19th of May 2025 and the 30th of May 2025 from EE regarding National Telecare Campaign. And you have a copy on that one. Councillor McAduff, you want to come on before? Yeah. Okay.
Can I take you back till the funded programmes? I have a particular proposal to make that arises from a meeting that both yourself, Chair, and I attended, and Councillor Rennie and Councillor Barton, and attended earlier today. It's under the theme of funding, So okay. I think this is the most appropriate place if you agree.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just earlier today, the Community Planning Partnership Board received a presentation from the Director of Rural Affairs in Deira, Jason Foy, on their work, which is currently ongoing in relation to revising rural policy. And it was noted at the meeting, and our director pointed it out as well, John, that the Rural Development Programme, the RDP, effectively no longer exists. And we're all aware of the value that the RDP was to our council area down the years, you know, with village regeneration and other programmes. So I want to propose that the council write to the Deira Minister, the Minister for Agriculture, to request what plans he has to replace the Rural Development Programme, highlighting the positive impacts that the programme has had on our council area. And Jason Foy also mentioned that a future programme on shaping sustainable places was due to be announced. But again, the old conundrum, he mentioned for settlements of above 5,000 people. And I mean, our representatives, like Councillor Maguire on the partnership panel last year or the year before, Councillor Deehan before that, and now Dermot, they're at pains to point out to government departments that that works against us, you know, consistently puts us in a bad place. So whilst I would welcome such a programme, I would point out that many of our rural settlements have less than 1,000 people, less than 500 people. So I would propose that the council also asks the minister if he has any proposals to support those small settlements that form a major part of our rural fabric. And he did say today on the slides that Deira is a champion for rural communities. And this is a kind of an asset test, in my opinion. So I make that proposal, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin, so you've really incorporated two proposals there in the one. And okay, over to Councillor Rainey.
Chair, and I'm happy to second it.
You're happy to second, Councillor Rainey? And we take on board what has been said there, obviously. So it's been proposed and seconded. You've heard Councillor McAdolph, seconded by Councillor Rainey. We all agreed? Agreed. Okay, thank you for that. We're moving on now to correspondence. And it's item 7.1 again. And I'll just read it out again. It's to note correspondence dated the 19th of May 2025 and the 30th of May 2025 from EE regarding National Telecare Campaign. Over to Director Boyle.
Thank you, Chair. This is something that the council has considered in the past, the rollout of the digital voice programme, and just information in relation to it. I suppose the one line that is there is that there is a campaign which has started on the 2nd of June in relation to it. And it is in relation to those that have a telecar alarm system, you know, the elderly people or whatever that have the little red button. And it is urgent, the campaign is urgent that if you know someone that has a telecar alarm, that they must call the landline provider to ensure that during that transition period, that they remain safeguarded. And there is a very intensive campaign. I know as a council, we will be sending it out to all our social media outlets, also through our community newsletter and community and voluntary organisations. But it is just to highlight it and to encourage members to, wherever possible, in especially working with elderly people or those that are disabled that have a telecare alarm, that it's emphasised, you know, that they contact their landline provider. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks. Okay, can we have a proposal and second to the note? Councillor Alan Rainey MBE, seconded by Councillor Mark Buchanan. We all agreed? Okay, thank you. On to item 7.2, and it's the note correspondence dated the 20th of May 2025 from the Minister of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs, Mr. Andrew Muir, MLA, regarding maintaining ring-fenced of funding for agriculture community and University of Oxford report regarding pollutants and water quality. Over to Director McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a response back to a letter that we had sent to the Minister of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs following a meeting of our Agriculture Liaison Group. So the report or the letter deals with, I suppose, a couple of points that we had posed in our letter to the Minister. The first one is really looking at the issue of the inheritance tax changes, which we have really flagged our concerns around those to the Minister. And members will note that that in the letter he has noted that despite his continued appeals to the UK government regarding the policy approach, that the plan, they've indicated that the plan is to press ahead with those changes in April 2026. The next section of the report really sets out some figures that I think are probably figures that we haven't probably seen before as a council in relation to the number of farms and the potential impacts. So it sets out in this particular part of the letter that members, that there are, in terms of farm businesses, that there's 5,184 registered farms in the district council area, and that was at 2023. And approximately 2,916 of those farms, so 56%, have more than 19.5 hectares owned, according to the agricultural census. So using what the Minister has noted there as an average valuation from the farms, the data analysis of 21,000 per acre, these farms would have an agricultural and business property value over the 1 million threshold. So therefore, the Minister has noted that they are likely to be impacted by the inheritance tax changes. The Minister has also provided us with some information then in relation to the budget, in relation to the budget that's set and the budgetary constraints, and he has confirmed that the funding allocation for agriculture, agri-environment and rural development remains the same as it was in 24-25. The Minister's also updated in relation to the setting up of a dedicated fund for Just Transition Fund. And the Minister then has also gone on to note the Oxford research paper that we had flagged to them in the correspondence in relation to sewage release into waterways. And then has gone on just to note an update in relation to the Northern Ireland Environment Agency in terms of the work that they undertake, and detail then around research that has been undertaken by the Agri-Food and Biosciences Institute.
Okay, thanks, Director McAvoy. Now we go to the chamber, and first up we have Councillor Seamus Green.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose the figures are quite stark there, that 53% of farms, and that's this year. I presume that as every year goes past, that percentage will rise, because I don't think the government has any plans on index linking their quota for when this tax kicks in. So it's quite an attack on farmers and family farms. I've said it before. I believe that there's a subplot going on that they're wanting to release agricultural land for big business and corporations to buy up, so that they can use it to offset their carbon emissions due to the climate change legislation. I think this is one of the ways to force family farms to have to sell off land. And we know in, I think it was England last year, there's something like 60 to 70% of all farms that were put up for sale was being sold to big businesses, not to other farmers. So it's quite scary stuff that's going on. I suppose then you add to the fact that the Minister seems to want to be pushing ahead with the Nutrient Action Plan, which again is another attack on farmers. And if it goes through as proposed, the vast majority of small farmers, which are the majority of small farmers in this council area, will be forced out of business because they just won't be able to compete. Again, it's a policy that seems to be wanting to create the big, massive factory farms, put the small family farm out of business because they won't be able to afford it, and it will go the same way as the pig, the hen industry, the dairy industry, even to a certain extent, where you have to have hundreds, if not thousands, of animals to be able to survive. So in this council area, it's mostly dairy and suckler herds. Sucklers is the only farming activity that can survive up in the hills. That seems to be under attack by these policies. I then go on to the answer you get back to the Oxford study, university study. He states that there's 4 rivers. He obviously, or his officials obviously, didn't read the study because there's 11 rivers. It said it was having it would have a large implication on rivers and lakes right across the UK. It said. He seems to think it only has a small effect, or it only affect the area that the study was done on. I believe in the study it stated that something like 80% of the pollutants that was causing the blue-green algae came from water companies' discharge pipes, and the majority of the pollutant was actually treated water. It wasn't even the untreated that was going into it. It was the treated water pipes that was feeding into this, that was creating all of this blue-green algae and pollution. And so I don't even think that he has read the report, or he has got none of his officials to read it. And I would love that Stormont, and I would propose that we would write and ask the minister to facilitate a similar plan in the north here. We'll say get Queen's University to action the same plan, study that Oxford University did in England, if he's not believing the results of the Oxford University. So I propose that we write them and suggest that would be action by Stormont before we go down the road of, because even in his letter he seems to be wanting to blame agriculture as the main contributor to this, even though this study that was only done, he quoted some study that was done in 2020 or 2019. This one was done in 2023. It's only recently reported there earlier this year. So I think it's the most up-to-date one. And so that's what I propose, that we write to the minister again and ask him to action a further study in around on the same guise as the Oxford one, only do it in the north. And maybe have 11 rivers here as well, rather than the 4 that he talked about.
Thank you for your proposal. You prepared to note the correspondence? Okay, it's noted. On out to Councillor Rushing to Ben Gallagher.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to second Seamus' proposal, please.
Okay. And you're seconding noting as well. Okay. Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Yeah, Chair, it's mostly just a procedural thing. I mean, I'm happy to be corrected about this. I'm genuinely not sure, but I mean, are Stormont ministers in a position to instruct universities on what research that they carry out? I mean, certainly I don't know if that's something that's within the power of the economy minister, but it certainly wouldn't be within the power of DERA. I mean, I'm happy to be corrected about that, but I'm just genuinely not sure about that.
It's a good question. I'll not attempt to answer it. I'll bring in to Director McAvoy here.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure the extent to which they would be able to direct, but I think they could probably seek advice in terms of facilitating a study. I mean, I note in the response that they've referred to the Agri-Food Biosciences Institute, and there's probably a relationship there through with the university. So I think it would be something that we could explore with the minister and seek feedback on.
Okay, and now we're going to Councillor Rainey, MBE.
I'm on board, Chair, to support this wholeheartedly. Councillor Green has given an excellent resume of exactly what is in this paper. I'm very happy to support it.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Rooney. Okay, there are no other speakers, so it's being proposed and by Councillor Green, seconded by Councillor Roisin Devine Gallagher, and supported by Councillor Rooney, that we write to Minister Muir asking him to encourage Queen's University, maybe that's the word I'll use, Queen's University Belfast to carry out a study similar to Oxford. Are we all agreed? Do you agree, Councillor Donnelly, or not? Okay, agreed. Thank you. Now, quite a lengthy one, that one. We're on to item 7.3, correspondence to note, correspondence dated 23rd of May 2025 from the Department of Education regarding St Connor's Primary School in Omagh. And there's a copy there. So an ongoing saga. And I know Councillor McAduff's wanting to come on here.
Thank you, Chair. Just to propose to note the correspondence. There's been a fair amount of action on this in the past week to 10 days, and we're all of a common understanding that there's a middle term and a long term solution. We're working towards that. We're pleased that the Department of Education is engaged, and it's good that the Minister is engaged as well. And then we're looking at short term options as well, and we will have covered the detail of that at the recent council meeting. So just propose to note. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McAduff. I had the opportunity of speaking in person to the Minister last week, and I did remind him of it as well. So
Thank you.
I'll be a seconder for the noting. Councillor Buchanan, all agreed? Yeah. Okay, and now we're on to item 7.4. And that's the note correspondence dated 2nd June 2025 from North-South Ministerial Council, Joint Secretariat regarding barriers to study in higher education in the Republic of Ireland. Director McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a letter then in response to a letter we'd issued to the North-South Ministerial Council following a presentation regarding school leavers qualifications and qualification equivalents back at our meeting, RNC meeting some months ago at this stage. So members will note that the correspondence is really just noting that both administrations are aware of the context facing students from Northern Ireland who may wish to undertake higher education studies in Ireland, and also noting that whilst it's not a formal area for cooperation under the NSMC, that they're aware of the relevant ministers in both jurisdictions continuing to discuss those barriers in relation to student mobility and building progress in relation to the particular issue.
Okay, thanks, Director McAvoy. And we're you come in on this as well, Councillor McAduff? If you're still your light on.
No, sorry about that.
Okay, we go now to Councillor Patrick Withers.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to note the correspondence and obviously welcome that hopefully there'll be some movement. Now the correspondence will be shared by the departments. Probably a bit disappointing that the North-South Ministerial Council is not taking further action on, but hopefully the individual ministers in the both jurisdictions will progress that and work on that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Withers. Seamus Green.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose it's a case of there is a serious barrier for students from the north to study in the south. I know it's practically impossible almost to get into the likes of medicine and that in the south. If you have your grades up here, you would instead of 3 A levels, you would have to have the equivalent of 4 A levels at AA standard to even look at getting in, which is almost impractical to do. So, which leaves that the vast majority of young people that want to study the likes of medicine and that, if they're refused or can't get into Queen's, they have no alternative but to cross the water and probably never return to these shores. And we all know we're crying out for doctors, so it's something that really does need to be looked at and got sorted. And this has been raised many times over the years. This is not the first time this has been raised, and I'm not so sure whether the will's there actually to get it sorted or not, especially down south. I don't know what the problem is or what the blockage is, but definitely the qualifications that's gained up here don't seem to be give the same prevalence that qualifications leaving certain that is given in the south.
Okay, are you prepared to second the noting? Okay. Over now to Councillor Rosemary Barton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Like several others that have spoken previously, this is quite a disappointing letter. This is something that's been on the agenda on and off over the past number of years in relation to equality of standards between the two jurisdictions and equality of exams, etc., and qualifications. Yeah, somebody spoke there of medicine. I'm particularly concerned about in relation to veterinary. We don't offer any veterinary qualifications at the moment here at any of the universities in Northern Ireland. So a student has to go either to England or further abroad to, if they wish to study veterinary. And it's particularly sad that they can't perhaps go down to the Republic to study it.
Points taken. Thank you, Councillor Barton. Okay, it's been proposed and second for noting. Now we're on to the agenda here. 7.5, and it's a note correspondence dated the 2nd of June 2025 from the Minister for the Economy, Dr. Kiva Archibald, MLA, regarding the Multiply programme delivery. Councillor McAvoy, or sorry, Director McAvoy. Apologies.
Thank you, Chair.
You can take over any day.
Thank you, Chair. This is correspondence from the Minister for the Economy, and it's in relation to the Multiply programme that had been rolled out in the district. So it's really just noting the success of the programme, and it was in relation to, I suppose, boosting numeracy, competence and confidence in relation to all of those matters. So it's really setting out the success, and in particular noting the role of two officers within the council in relation to their particular role in terms of the programme, and noting that the Minister's just noting that she's hopeful that there will be a legacy from the Multiply programme. I suppose not just in relation to the importance in relation to numeracy skills, but also in relation to that positive collaboration. And I think the feedback we've had as officers is that it has really been a very successful programme.
Okay, thank you, Director McAvoy. You've heard the Director. Any comments or questions? If not, can we have a proposer and seconder to note? Councillor Rushing Devine Gallagher, seconder. Councillor Rosemary Barton. And agreed. Okay. On to item 7.6, other. We have nothing and I'm aware of. Item 8 is any urgent and relevant business, and I'm going to bring Councillor Warrington in first. Councillor Victor Warrington.
Thank you, Chair. And at this point, seeing the camera is working again, just want to wish you all the best in your year in office. I spoke about this at our last council meeting last week, and was told basically we needed to discuss it here. I think I would like to raise the question of fireworks again for this coming year. Obviously, last year in Enniskillen, the fireworks were provided by a private company, which obviously was their choice to do that, and it was probably most appreciated by the public out there. Unfortunately, Oma didn't have the same facility of being able to have any fireworks at the time, so we're at a problem there straight away. I would ask, moving forward, in fairness to both Oma and to Enniskillen, that we look again and bring back some sort of proposal or some sort of paper to our next RNC meeting, which will be in July. And I know we have a council meeting at the end of July, basically looking at the possibility of FODC creating the fireworks again in both towns. It is certainly something that has caused a lot of debate and conversation with our people out there over the last couple of years. The fact that the council hasn't been doing them, and I think certainly I would like to have this investigated again, that we can look at the possibility of having the fireworks again in both towns. So I'm making that a proposal that we bring back a paper or information at our next RNC meeting, looking forward like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Warrington. And for a second there, I'm going to bring in Director John Boyle on this matter.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose to bring back a paper of the decisions that were taken to date and the reasons behind that decisions, we can certainly do that for a future RNC committee. Just to point out, though, that this was discussed at the time of the estimates process, and it was agreed by council that we would not invest in a fireworks display in 2025. And that decision has been taken. Now we are outside the period, the 6-month period, and therefore members can decide otherwise. Just in relation to what we do for Halloween event, we do provide sponsorship in Enniskillen to bid for Halloween for town centre animation. I think it's somewhere in the region of £6,000 from memory. And there are programs at the Strual Arts Centre. They're doing the Castle, theme programming for Halloween, and we do work with Enniskillen Bid in relation to that activity programme, especially in Enniskillen. We certainly would welcome the opportunity to work with Oma Chamber similarly in relation to Halloween. But yeah, certainly, Chair, we can bring back a report on the decisions and the reasons behind those decisions. At the time, members will be aware that it is expensive, and the prioritisation of expenditure was taken at the time of the estimates process.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Boyle, for that update. Can we have a seconder? A report comes back for the July RNC. Councillor Roisin and Devine Gallagher, and we're agreed. Okay, that's agreed. Thank you. Okay, over now to the second bit of any urgent and relevant businesses from our director, Sinead McAvoy.
Thank you, Chair. So this was just I wanted to give members just an update in relation to the transboundary consultation that DFI had undertaken in relation to the Dalradian project. So I had updated members at the May Planning Committee meeting just in relation to the exchange of correspondence between DFI and the PAC. So having reviewed just the correspondence on the PAC website, I've noted that there has been a further exchange of correspondence between both parties. And in that, DFI have advised that they will supply the necessary information relating to the transboundary consultation to the PAC by the 20th of June 2025.
Thank you. Councillor Stephen Donnelly.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for that update. I appreciate it may well be premature to ask this question, but just given that timeline that you've outlined there, Sinead, do we have a rough idea then of the timescale potentially for seeing the inquiry being reconvened?
Thank you, Chair. At this stage, I don't have a timeline. I'm conscious the next step, the PAC, would be the mid-inquiry meeting that they had referred to at the pause of the inquiry meeting. So don't have a date for that. And then from that onward, then we would get a timetable.
Okay. Proposer and seconder to note your. Can we propose and seconder? Councillor Stephen Donnelly, seconded by Councillor Alan Rainey MBE. All agreed? Okay, so that's all noted. I'm going back to Director John Boyle. You must have gone back with regard to your previous item.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just thinking about the timeline. The estimates process was February, so we are still within the 6-month period of the decision taken. So it will be September before we will be able to revisit it and bring a report back on the fireworks. Unless we have a decision on the already at a council meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brian McAduff.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. Just can I take this opportunity to say that I'm a strong supporter of a bid being established in Omagh. And we've been advised by the Chief Executive that we are sufficiently far from a previous decision on the part of the Omagh Chamber not to go down that road of a bid programme. And Enniskillen benefits from having a bid programme, there's no doubt about that. They're able to organise things like that, events. They're able to go to big business, big supportive businesses to help them fund events. And I would like to see that model achieved in Omagh as well. So I just want to record my strong view that we should be speaking again to the Omagh Chamber of Commerce directly to see if at this time they might have the appetite for running that again, because the support of the council will be there for them in that venture. So in a way, I'd like to propose re-engagement from the council with the Omagh Chamber of Commerce to look at this issue afresh and urgently so that events can happen in Omagh of this nature. And I do want to record that yesterday I attended an events meeting of the council, and very, very soon in this end of the council area, there's an upcoming Teddy Bears picnic at the Grange Park, which is a free event for families, and at the Fort Hill Park in Enniskillen as well. I think it might even be the preceding day. There's going to be a huge event like that as well. And I think thousands of people attend both the Fort Hill event and the Teddy Bears picnic event. Thousands of people attended annually. And we looked forward as well to the Christmas lights switch on events. And we looked at the recent success of both Omagh and Enniskillen St. Patrick's Day being growing, in Enniskillen with the project St. Patrick, and in Omagh, with the council and an events company. So there's a lot happening, but I think key to the future of more events in Omagh would be the establishment of a bid project in Omagh where they could confidently go to businesses and get the support of the council variously. I mean, the council was at the heart of the decision to establish that bid in Enniskillen and is saying to the business community that we're in support of a similar venture in Omagh. So I think my proposal would be that this council urgently re-engage the Omagh Chamber of Commerce or other such bodies that might be prepared to run a plebiscite with the businesses on whether or not to ignite this whole bid project in Omagh. I think the time's right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Councillor McAuliffe. Just going back to Councillor Warrington, I hope you have noted that, Councillor Warrington, it'll be September 2025 R&C before that comes back from our Director Boyle. The other thing from Councillor McAuliffe there has proposed, and I was very much involved, it's probably prior to your time back on council, Councillor McAuliffe, that we were involved in the application for a bid in Omagh way back some years ago, and was very disappointed at the time that we didn't get there. But certainly it's worth looking at now. The new officers of Omagh Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Have a second for Councillor McAduff's proposal, Councillor Stephen Donnelly. Are we all agreed on that? That's right. I see Councillor Marty McColgan's coming in.
Chair, I was just going to come and second the proposal, and again, I would agree. It would be timely to re-engage to try with the businesses to try and establish a bid in Omagh. I have been I've been disappointed since I back into council that there hasn't been a firework event in Omagh, and I think that it's something I would like to strive towards. And whether we took a decision about the finances for delivering on fireworks for this year, I think it's something that we need to revisit. I'm just wondering, John, on the fact that what would stop us bringing back a report to council, even though a decision has been taken on the
Will you
fact
get
that
up
we're
there
not going
and plug in this before it conks out?
Councillor Warrington, I can hear you loud and clear.
Chair, a decision couldn't be taken in July on such an issue because it is within the 6 months period. You know, the earliest it could be taken.
No,
would be
I
in-
realise that. I'm just saying on the decision that was taken and then just looking at a way forward or a way to establish fireworks without having to actually the council expansion.
Yeah, like I say, a report can certainly be brought, but you know, to reconsider the decision to hold a fireworks display, it couldn't be taken at that meeting because it is within the 6 months period. So I suppose that's all. Like, you know, we can bring a report. It would be for noting only. It couldn't be for a decision purpose.
No bother.
Okay, I think it was agreed there, so we are all agreed on that. Yeah, thank you. Switch you off here, Councillor McColgan. Okay, part 2. Okay, it's come to that time, and we're on to
Chair, can
proposal.
I be allowed to
Yeah,
comment on, please?
you can quickly comment there, Councillor Warrington.
As has been stated, I see no problem with bringing back a report anyway. It doesn't. It's obviously not a proposal as such, and obviously, if there is to be a change of plans, as has been stated, September obviously is going to be too late because we'll be hit with the same thing again, that there's no time to organise anything by that stage as well. And it's obvious that this situation will have cross-party support with being reviewed again. So certainly I don't see a problem with bringing back a report at our next meeting, and then will basically leave us more prepared then if it's going to be September before we have any further time to discuss it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Warrington. That has been noted by our Director Boyle and all and sundry. Thank you. Councillor Seamus Green.
Thanks, Chair. I'm just wondering, this seems to have become a habit, especially from Councillor Warrington and Councillor Ovens, to bring in things halfway through the year. I don't know whether they attended the estimates working groups and that, you know, and I'm not sure whether they suggested putting money aside for this. But if they didn't, I would suggest that they maybe hit the road running a wee bit quicker next year, you know, rather than every year it seems to be, you know, just on that bit too late. So it almost comes across as if, you know, they almost deliberately bring this up, knowing that is not going to happen, so that they can cry victim. But maybe that's just me being an old cynic.
I wasn't going to say that, Councillor Green.
Can I respond to that, please?
No, we're not.
Councillor
We're not going to start an argy-bargy.
We're not going to start an argy-bargy, but just to make it clear,
I'm not allowing you in, Councillor Warrington.
well,
Don't persist.
that's
We're going on to
unfair.
the next business. We're on to the next business. Proposal and seconded by the committee. Proposed by Councillor Tommy Maguire, seconded And now, if you can give us thumbs up there again, Selena. Okay, we're now out of committee. We'll ask Director John Boyle to give us a resume of what happened whilst in committee.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst in committee, members considered a report on the update of public rights of way and considered and agreed on a course of action on the way forward. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, can we have a proposer and seconder? That's what took place. Councillor Buchanan, Councillor Maguire, and agreed. Thank you. And that brings our meeting to an end. Can I thank Director McAvoy, Director Boyle, Michelle, Selena, and all the councillors in the chamber and online. Thank you all for your very good cooperation this evening.